to Miami and UF thoughts. We'll talk about UF just a little bit in this too, but more on Miami. Let's start with this though. Are you surprised that so everybody wants, and I know we hate ESPN, we hate the dog, we hate everything, right? We're just miserable people. Maybe not so much these last 3 weeks, but I mean, you want game day to come, right? Does it surprise you a little bit that game day is going down to Miami versus Florida? There is a ranked on ranked matchup in the SEC with Oklahoma and Auburn. Now I know they've already seen Oklahoma this year, but there's a ranked on ranked matchup in the SEC, and they're going down to what is now a 9-point spread, opened up at 8.5, and it will probably climb through the week. Does it make you think they won't come for game day, or if it's a top 7 matchup at worst, do you think they're there?
I think Kirk would not want to come, but I think as a whole, when you look at the majority of the fan base, myself included, I'm over the whole snub, but when it comes to blaming Kirk. Like, I'm not over the snub. I'll never get over that snub, right? But, I think they would be welcomed happily. I've been to game day in Tallahassee more times than I can count, right? Like, there were years where they were there, 2 times a year, and I was at every single one of them. So I'm a little surprised they are going after Florida, DJ Lagway throwing 5 interceptions. Against LSU and just looking completely discombobulated. So, I don't see the value. I don't think is Florida even ranked. I don't think they're even ranked anymore.
Right. No, they dropped out last week.
Yeah. So I get it because it's a battle of the Sunshine State. So I guess I can see that angle, and they want to reward Miami for a strong first 3 weeks with, 2 top 25 wins, which is very impressive. And, winning in dominant fashion yesterday. So they probably haven't been there in a long time, maybe since Notre Dame in 2017, if I had to guess. But
you might be right. I thought they were down there recently, but go ahead. Sorry.
I'm not sure, but yeah. So I think it's them rewarding. And part of me, the inside of me thinks, okay, they're also doing this because they don't want Florida State, Miami, Clemson, North Carolina to leave the conference. So ESPN is saying, let's throw them a bone because it is a rivalry game. Let them have their moments. It'll be fun. But I think if Miami handles business, which I expect they will this weekend against Florida, and Florida State handles their business against Virginia, they will be in Tallahassee. There's no doubt in my mind, because in the 90s, there was nothing better. I know a lot of people hate this, but ABC noon kickoff used to be the premier game every single week in the 90s. And I would love to see Florida State and Miami be a noon kickoff. I know the people going to the game are listening.
You're a psycho. No, get out.
Yeah, I know the people listening.
Thank you.
Are probably saying, no, I want the 8 o'clock game. No, I want old school Florida State Miami ABC, where they finish game day inside of the newly renovated Doak Campbell Stadium, which I've heard from many people it just is amazing.
I will get right back to the video, but first, make sure that you show our friends over at Emerald Medical some love. If you're feeling drained, not yourself, there could be a very easy answer and solution. I see the analytics. I know what gender you guys are. I know what age you guys are. Low testosterone might be an issue for you right now, and you might not even realize it. Emerald Medical can help you get that energy back. Use our code DFNS for a free consultation and savings on your journey to feeling like the real you. My buddy Chris was up there with us at the tailgate for the Alabama game. He is a diehard Florida State fan, just like you and I are. He will offer personalized care that you can trust. Call them today, 772-307-9840. Mention Double Fries No Slaw, or go to their website, emeraldhrt, hormone replacement therapy.com, and use our code DFNS to get back to feeling like the real you. Yeah, I agree with everything you said except for that noon kickoff crap. I'm fine with 3:30, but get out of here with that noon stuff. I want that place liquored up, bro, and we ain't got time for that.
Oh, we'll be liquored up. I used to wake up get to the tailgate spot at 6 a.m. when I was in school there.
Yeah, well, that's when they'll open for
an 8 p.m. game now.
But yeah, the pass on the noon thing, man. I'm done with shrimp and grits at tailgates. But
it's eggs,
I mean, what is cool about it is Florida State Miami. And again, I'll give them their credit. They're a really good team this year. I think they have deficiencies. I think Florida. We'll preview that more as we get closer. But I do think that they're a really good team, and I think that's gonna be a really tough test. I'm not even convinced. Oh, we're definitely winning that. We're good, and I think we're good too. And I think we match up well with them. I think their secondary is suspect, and if the offensive line can hold up, I think we'll have a good chance to win that. But I do think that they're really good, and this is honestly what you want. Like I mean, yeah, I want them to lose every game possible. I was arguing with a friend about this recently. Like, do you want them to be good for when you play them for strength of schedule, or do you just want their program to crater? And I'm like, yeah, they can crater, right? Like, we'll cheer for Alabama to go 11-1 and Clemson to figure things out. Which, my gosh, are they a mess? But I kind of do want them. I mean, I want them to beat Florida. I like bury Florida even further because I don't want to miss out on game day. If they lose that, I don't think we get it. But if that's a number one team versus or a top 3 or 4 team versus a 5 to 7 team, I would think it would come. The last time game day went to Miami, from what I can tell, now Miami was on it when they went out to Cal last year for that game, and then they've been down to Miami for playoff games and stuff like that. From the last time that I can tell, the last time that there was game day this is 2020 is when they were down there for the Florida State Miami game, which is kind of crazy because Florida State, I don't know why that was the case. But it was early in the year. It was week 3. I think Florida State was maybe 1-1 at that point. Maybe they had won I know they lost the opening game to Georgia Tech. Maybe they had won their second game. Yeah, that was the out of conference game. So they were 1-1, and you thought Florida State would be, a little bit better than they obviously finished with 3-6. But 52-10. So let's not have a repeat of that.
Well, it's a stat that I've thrown out on this show before, but in the 90s, Florida and Florida State played each other 11 times, if you include postseason. And every single one of those 11 games was a top 10 matchup. That's what, I grew up with. Yeah, of course I want Miami to lose every single week. If they're, down by 3 late or up by 3 late with the other team having the ball, of course I'm going to be rooting against them. But there's something so special about a Florida State or a Florida State Miami game where there's a lot on the line, right? Yeah. And that's what I'm kind of looking forward to. And that's why I will not be rooting for Miami this weekend, but I do hope Miami wins.
Listen, I'll tell you, whichever team has more orange on their uniforms on Saturday is the one that I'll root against, because nothing good is orange, of course. But
you like oranges?
I'll say this, like, I won't say that I'm rooting for, but I would prefer Miami win.
Yes,
for the matchup. I will tell you, the freak out for Miami fans if they lose to Billy Napier and 5 interception DJ Uiagalelagwe, that will be phenomenal. But I do think that I think Miami's going to win anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Obviously, no matter who I cheer for. But Florida's an absolute dumpster fire. We can talk about them real quick, and then we can move off this. And Clemson's getting close. I think Georgia Tech's good. In fact, I think we need to beat Miami because I'm worried about Georgia Tech sneaking into the ACC championship now that they have the win up over Clemson. But Florida's a dumpster fire. I mean, I will say this, their defense is good. Like, I don't think we go in there and put 40 points on them or anything like that. But, man, they're an absolute mess. I don't think they'll have a head coach when we get to that game. And then I wonder, once they fire Billy, how many guys just say, I'm out of here. Like, because I do think one thing he does really, really well is he recruits really well, and he does a good relationship with his players. And so they all play hard for him. Now, they don't play very well. Obviously, Lagway was terrible last night, but they do play hard for him. And that defense stood in there last night, really only giving up 10 points. I thought that was pretty impressive on the road in Death Valley. If you'd told me UF's defense was going to give that up, but man, they are such a cluster, and they can't figure anything out there at UF. And maybe they'll play better through the year. I mean, I think every game on their schedule is pretty losable. We'll see. Arch Manning versus Lagway will be the worst QB matchup in the SEC, which I thought it was going to be the best matchup possible going into the season.
Yeah.
But, we'll talk about FPI here in a minute and just kind of what ESPN's projecting out. But, I mean, the games that we thought were going to be really, really tough this year aren't looking so tough at this moment. Miami certainly is. But, that one there at the end of the season, just, it's never easy to go win in the swamp. I get it. But I think you've got a really good chance to go and, finish off a terrible season, kind of like Florida did to us last year.
Yeah, well, one thing that really stuck out to me because I watched the entire game start to finish with LSU and
Yeah.
Florida last night, and they are just so extremely undisciplined.
Yeah.
It was almost, you think back to last week when the Florida player, I forget who it was, decides right in front of a ref to spit on one of the USF players. Even, they had a huge play, 87-yard touchdown that was called back by a hold, and it was obvious hold. It wasn't just a hold; it was a tackle. Like the offensive lineman just literally tackled the guy. They just seem like an extremely undisciplined team. They have a ton of talent. They really do. And despite the 5 interceptions, I think he has all the tools to be very, very good. There's a reason he was in the top 5 of pretty much anyone's Heisman odds heading into the season. He's played his way out of that at this point. There's especially with having 2 losses now, but yeah, just the undisciplinedness of this team is what really. I guess it doesn't surprise me because they haven't been super disciplined year after year, but they have accumulated a good bit of talent, in my opinion. I think they have good players at almost every layer on defense. They have capable running backs. Lagway, we all thought would be a very good quarterback. Clearly, the 5 interceptions. Did I hear right on the broadcast that the record at UF was 9 interceptions in one game? Or was I just
Yes, like back in like the 50s or something.
that's insane, by the
Yeah.
way. But yeah, no, I'm really surprised, but I do think that will be a tough game because a lot of things will have to, we'll have to weigh a lot of different things because if Billy Napier's been fired by then, which I personally think he will be, I'll go on the record saying that right now. I don't think he's coaching the Florida game, but thinking about when Florida State went and played an interim coach up at the Swamp, we lost that game with the absolute worst onside kick attempt I've ever seen in my life. But yeah,
I forgot about that. Thanks for the painful reminder.
yeah, no, but I do think they do have talent, but it's just not clicking. And I think to your point, I think they will fight for Billy Napier, but once he's fired, because he will be, you look at the stretch coming up that they have to play against, and it's going to get ugly, and the boosters and the money will speak for itself. So he will not be the coach at University of Florida when they play Florida State this year, is my opinion.
Yeah, I'd be shocked. I'll say this. I said that last year too. Like it's not the first year I've said that, but I certainly thought that'd be the case last year too. Now, I don't know if it would have mattered last year, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe you do keep him around because that you don't want the whole team to opt out. Maybe that's
who do you hire?
Yeah. Just hire behind the scenes and let him coach the thing out like you did Zook. Although obviously that didn't work out real well for us.
No.
One other game, after that game was over, like talk about getting your, just absolutely reamed. Did you see Notre Dame blow it at the end of the game? Like, I know that tanks Miami's schedule or strength of schedule and stuff, but like 4th and 11, how do you do this? I like Marcus Freeman a lot, and so I was frustrated. And plus, my anti-SEC narrative was lacking because only one SEC team lost out of conference yesterday. But no, they didn't. It was Florida, and they played an SEC team, so no, nobody lost out of conference. But Notre Dame pissed me off yesterday, and I hope the ass chewing that Marcus Freeman gave them was worth it. But you can pick stuff on the NFL. You can do eliminator leagues. You can do fantasy leagues. You can do anything you're looking for. We play the more or less game where you pair a couple of players' stats, whether that's touchdowns, receptions, yards, whatever you're looking for, interceptions, points on PATs, whatever you're looking for. You can do it there with the more or less game. So let us make some money with you on Wednesday nights, and make sure that you do have the Sleeper app downloaded. Make sure you're also checking their terms of use because terms and conditions do apply. Appreciate Sleeper for their support.
I am a huge Marcus Freeman fan, but I just felt like, okay, this is going to happen. 4th down, and then
I thought they had it.
It was a tough catch. It was a tough catch too. It wasn't even an easy catch. And once they got it, I was like, okay, this is cool. Yeah, that's all I did yesterday was just sit on the couch and watch college football all day. Who? All right, now I'm blanking. What game went into overtime yesterday? Where the kicker missed the field goal in regulation. Oh, it was the Georgia game.
That was the game of the day.
Yeah.
That might have been the game of the year. Holy crap!
Yeah, that kid has to go to school tomorrow.
Oh, brutal.
I'm sorry. Like he did redeem himself in overtime by hitting right down the middle. But man, you could have won the game in regulation.
Didn't it just feel like Georgia was going to do that? Like it just never felt like they were really when they got that fourth down, fourth and like 12 or fourth and 8 or something, or maybe it was 4th and 6. I don't know, but yeah, when they got that, I was like, "Wow, Georgia's winning this game." And I know they had a chance at the field goal, but